topic on behalf of Lugansk State Medical University. Very good afternoon to my respected panel of juries, my esteemed colleagues, and my dear friends. I, Diptajit Basak, from Group 43, 4th year, and I'm going to present AIDS as a social and global epidemic. My topic today is AIDS, Probing Beyond. So here's a short summary of my presentation. We'll be looking back on why, when, and how, who to hate, AIDS or the victims, straightening out some facts about basic misconceptions about AIDS, some present statistics, shocking or encouraging, living life with AIDS. Next. So before we start, I just want to draw your attention and ask you to allow me to speak beyond the medical facade of AIDS. We have, for a decade, doctors have written scores of researches on the medical aspect of AIDS, but today we will for once glance at the humane aspect of AIDS and judge the real threat of this lethal disease, where we stand today and how much further we have to go to eradicate this disease completely. So in this slide, you can see a family from Uganda, Africa, which is on a waiting list to receive the medication of AIDS, which is a bit hard for us to comprehend being in a European situation. Next. So every year, thousands of patients die from AIDS, debilitating families, ruining lives, and pouring a country. AIDS is a kind of lethality that does not discriminate between caste, creed, or sex. I implore you to look very closely to the date 1981 and the acronym GRID. It's going to be very important later when you're talking about these two acronyms. Next. Only in 1981, as I said before, the scientific community observed AIDS for the first time clinically. It was only a chance occurrence where people were found sharing needles and common injections, and common infection between them was suspected. But by then, already scores of people have been suspected and infected, but we didn't know about that. AIDS is still spreading today at a very alarming rate of 35 million people globally affected as of today. Next. GRID stands for gay-related immunodeficiency, and it was thought that this disease AIDS was first originated among the gay population and the homosexual population. But it was proven wrong in 1982, and in 1983 the term AIDS was coined, and it was said that AIDS is no longer realmed within the gay population. AIDS is not a disease, period. It is a form of immunodeficient state of our body whose immune system becomes too weak for the symptoms, which are related to infection. The body has been opposed to a real culprit, which is the HIV, and we see the HIV virus here, which is in the molecular level, and that's a form of electron microscopic image or something. Next. So as we see two very graphic forms of HIV crisis, as I've said, seen in the previous slide. So in this slide you see a boy who has been treated, he's a terminal patient of AIDS, and he's being treated in some African hospital in South Africa. So the main problem with AIDS today is not the disease, but the problem with the social ostracism, discrimination of the people. So as we see that AIDS have always been discriminated against by people from different countries, various religious culminants, and various sects have always discriminated people of AIDS among, let's say, as a social atrocity. We have, for example, social ostracism, instrumental AIDS stigma, symbolic AIDS stigma, curtsy AIDS stigma. What is instrumental AIDS stigma? Instrumental AIDS stigma is when a reflection of the fear and apprehension that are likely to be associated with deadly transmission illness. For example, when we had smallpox, people left patients with smallpox outside the city. Polio, let's say chicken pox. These are infectious diseases which people didn't have real idea what they're talking about, what they're seeing. So fear or lack of understanding promotes fear. So they were outcasted by the society. So what is symbolic ostracization? When ostracism is aimed at a specific group, for example in 1981, this kind of ostracism was aimed towards the homosexual community. People were ostracized then. And what is curtsy AIDS stigma? Curtsy, when discrimination is aimed towards a person attached in eradicating AIDS. For example, WHO personnel, UNICEF, UNESCO, UNAID people, they are discriminated against when they try to help people who are dealing with AIDS. So now let's focus on some very debatable and often confused facts about AIDS. I prefer saying getting over facts and getting our heads together. I'm going to list the ways you can and you can't have AIDS. Next. To start with the scary facts, let's figure out the ways that how AIDS can be transmitted from one person to another. Unprotected sex. It is the perfect ground for transmission, and please remember, your momentary lapse can cost you and your partner your life. Please remember that sex in any form is unprotected and is dangerous. Like, we know that there are various forms of sex, but unprotected in any form is dangerous and can transmit the problem or AIDS from one person to another. Another very common mode of transmission is through blood, body fluids, namely blood. So please always ensure that the label on your blood bag says that it has been tested for HIV and it's safe and it's free of any kind of infection. An infected mother can also infect her child with AIDS if unprecedented labor or breastfeeding is continued. So now I'm going to say the ways you can't have AIDS. You can't have AIDS if you kiss, cuddle, touch, hug, or make friendship with an AIDS patient. They can't infect you, nor do they want to. All they need is your support and hospitality. So can you go back? An act of kindness goes a long way. So you can see a person holding hands, a person kissing, but this doesn't actually transmit AIDS in any form. So this picture should give you a proper idea regarding the current hotbeds of AIDS. You can see the manifestation of AIDS and the extent of its spread. Unfortunately, it's mostly rampant in the continent of Africa, the Southern Africa to be very specific. Several facts including poverty, illiteracy, civil unrest, lack of medical and social knowledge, general lack of information, fuels and aggravates the problem. The sheer number of AIDS is staggering. Africa has been hit the highest with 65% of AIDS patients alone, with 22.9 million of all HIV cases. It's sad, but Africa has the highest number of AIDS patients in the world right now, and it's fast increasing, sadly not decreasing. And 66% of all deaths, nearly 1.2 million people died in Africa alone, and the number as well is also increasing. Next. This is an AIDS patient that has AIDS in Africa without any medical or kind of social treatment. What we see here is cooperation from the society, but which is not, unfortunately, enough. Next. So my question is, can we all lead a life without AIDS? The answer is fairly simple. Yes, we can. Let's repeat. Yes, we can. Of course, we can live without AIDS, but it needs some work. We have to understand the basic motto, the basic idea why AIDS transmits. Like, just by following AIDS, we can actually eradicate AIDS. A for awareness, I for information, D for no discrimination, S for solidarity. If these are the steps which we follow, we can actually eradicate AIDS forever. Just like we did chickenpox, we did diphtheria, we did polio. Next, please. So these children, they followed AIDS. They forgot discrimination. They are solidarity to each other. So yes, if they can follow AIDS, we can follow AIDS too. Next. So let's just ask ourselves, will we hug an AIDS patient the next time we see one? Will you? I will. Shall we promote safe sex by using proper contraception and protections? I think I will. Shall we mention others to take proper drugs and not hide the disease in fear of social ostracism? Let's not discriminate. Shall we promote safe medical practice by promoting disposables? Of course we will. We are doctors. It's our job, it's our habit to promote safe medical practices. Shall we check the label before transfusion? Of course we will. If yes is the answer to all of these questions, then we can safely say, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the path of eradicating AIDS. AIDS will be gone in the next century, or in the next year, or maybe in the next decade. Next. So as we see, this is the promotion of UNAIDS to promote awareness against AIDS. Back to that one. And no, next one. Yeah, you're actually moving one. Never mind. Yeah, so yeah. Down. So this is against, in the present century, we do not discriminate against AIDS, and this is one of the heavily debated topics, that is it still a part of the homosexual community, and fortunately it's not. It's not, no more. AIDS is not GRID, it's not known as GRID anymore. It's out of the social rooms. So these are the slides I would like to show you regarding the awareness that has been promoted by various world organizations like WHO, UNICEF, UNESCO. Every 10 seconds a child in Africa dies of AIDS. This is sad, but it's true. So thank you for choosing life over AIDS. Thank you so much.